Hey everyone, welcome again to my channel. Got a video today that I really kind of wanted to make for a long time. It was one of the first ideas I had, but only now getting around to it for some reason, but that's okay. I'm going to try to keep my perspective and experience short because really I just want to get people that need this book and video. I just want to get that to you first, and because it really helped me a lot, tremendously. Which I'll get into in a second. But basically, the book is by Layla Miller. And I'm going to put the link to the PDF in the description as well as a video that kind of explains the genesis of the book, how the book came to be written, etc. But basically, it's not really, I mean, she wrote a small portion of it, but basically it's collections of what people have written about their experience being a child of divorce and how it's impacted their lives and how, it is a lifelong struggle. It never, the pain never really goes away, etc. The effects, etc., never really go away. And it was very profound. And I've struggled. So my parents divorced when I was 8. And my brother was 7 at the time, and I remember, and the strange thing was I never saw it coming. Like, they never fought in front of us, any of that kind of stuff. But they just took us in the room and said, basically, Mommy and Daddy aren't going to live together anymore. And I remember, like, the immediate impact hit me pretty quickly. I mean, I kind of was able to put 2 and 2 together real quick and realized life is going to change dramatically. And I cried. But yeah, so that was really tough. But I never really understood or thought deeply about the impacts until much later in life. Very quickly, like I remember when I was at work, probably 8 years ago, trying to figure out why I wasn't being promoted at work as quickly as I thought I should be, or at all, I should say. And maybe it was longer than that, I forget. But long story short, I kind of put together that, I wonder if the divorce had an impact on me that hadn't really thought of before. And maybe that is a possible reason why I'm not advancing at work, kind of thing. I was just curious. And so I did some research on the internet, and I did find, evidence that suggests children of divorce are typically less assertive. They typically can be very socially awkward, which I would say. And, they typically get into alcohol abuse, drug abuse. They're sexually promiscuous more than their peers from intact families, that sort of thing. And so, I mean, children of divorce to smaller and greater extents are damaged goods in some way. And of course that could probably affect your career. So at any rate, this was before I even knew my MBTI type or any of that. And I hadn't really thought of INFP implications on career and things like that. Because there are many, of course, we know that. Anyways, I do want to keep this video kind of focused on the book because because one of the things that I realized, especially because it kind of points it out to you blatantly in the book, is that when you're a child of divorce, you really don't have anywhere to turn, and can be really frustrating. I mean, perhaps you could have another friend who comes from divorce and y'all can talk, but that's usually not the case. I mean, or at least wasn't the case with myself. But let me just read one little sample. How the book is written. And so basically she's a blogger. And she basically submitted, hey, for all my friends, it was a Facebook group, and I believe it was. And she's like, I'm looking for, if, people who come from divorce, if y'all have experiences you would like to share, send it to this email address. And so basically loads of people from divorce submitted their experiences. There were questions. I mean, there were prompts like, how did this divorce affect you, so to speak? And there's other questions too in the book that all these children of divorce answer. But it's, as I was reading it, I mean, a lot of it is profoundly sad. And like the author herself in the video suggests, like, if you're going to read this book, listening to all these folks, stories about their experience of their parents' divorce and this, I mean, bring some Kleenex, because a lot of it is just so gut-wrenchingly sad. There's definitely some situations that are far more tragic than my divorce. I mean, my parents' divorce. All divorce is tragic. Sometimes it's unavoidable, of course, but but this is something that, let me just read one. One effect of divorce is that the child can become overly aware of his parents' feelings about the subject and bend over backwards to stay on the narrow, halfway line between his parents. Every word and action is measured in one's mind so as not to provide the slightest offense to either parent. One becomes a referee, at least in feeling. I still haven't entirely moved past this. And every child of divorce whose parents are on Facebook immediately know what I'm talking about. Like, because that's one reason why I don't really post on Facebook anymore, is because if I have a family outing with that side of the family, I might post some things, but then I know it's going to generate maybe some feelings of jealousy on the other side, and vice versa. And then it's also like, well, am I posting too much with this side of the family? And so you're constantly trying to measure both sides equally on Facebook and all this kind of stuff. It sounds crazy, but it's tough. It's one of those things you deal with. And but anyways, what else? I mean, I guess the one thing I would mention also is that I should mention is, this blogger is Catholic, and so that is kind of weaved in. And it was a Catholic group that where she's soliciting these questions from. But I mean, that shouldn't, if you're not Catholic or you're not religious or whatever, that's totally fine. I mean, it's not that heavy-handed in the book at all. I mean, it's basically just these folks talking about their experience, and it's super profound. And like I was looking at the book on Amazon, and some of the reviewers on Amazon are like, yeah, because some people were like, it was a little bothersome, but other people are like, please, I mean, this book is so good, and hearing these people, don't let that dissuade you or whatever. And I'm Catholic myself, which is maybe why I came across this book. I don't know, but I'm just saying, don't let that dissuade you, because it really has helped me. Like, I've read the book 1.5 times, and I just remember reading it. Yeah, it's so profound. You just trust me when I say you'll find it therapeutic if you are from a child divorce. And that's the thing also, I mean, when you are a child divorce and you're INFP, I think that's kind of like yeah. So anyways,